Hi, I'm Matt with eTrailer. If you have a 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee 4xe and you're looking for something that's going to look nice on your roof and allow you to carry a lot more accessories when you're going out and about, especially for those more recreational uses, then the Thule Roof Rack is going to be a great option for you. So let's check it out. And what I really like about a roof rack is if you have anything that is longer or larger, your roof is a perfect spot for it, because if you can't fit it inside your vehicle or on the back of your vehicle, like in a cargo carrier, then your roof is going to be a much better option, especially if you have anything like skis or a kayak. Now you could always use a trailer, but the trailer is going to extend the footprint of a vehicle by a lot more, while this is just going to keep it all in one spot. Now what I like about this one particularly is it's a really easy installation and it looks nice on a roof compared to some other options out there. But let's break down what comes with your kit. So it's going to be in three parts. Up top, we're going to have our 47-inch crossbars. Beneath that, we're going to have our tower. And underneath that, we're going to have our fit kit. So starting with the very top, these crossbars, like I said, are 47 inches. They will work with a wide variety of different types of accessories. And that's only because of the type of shape we have. This is an arrow shape to help it be more aerodynamic, to help reduce wind noise. And something else going to help reduce wind noise is going to be this rubber strip that's built in. And what this rubber strip is protecting is our T-channel. So let's say you have a type of accessory that won't fit around here very well, or you want to place it right at this tower, then you could put an accessory in through this T-channel instead. And what's nice about this is to really access that T-channel easier, we actually have this end cap built into here, so you can mount your accessory via this point. A lot of other ones, you actually have to remove that end cap completely. And if you go below that, we're going to have the tower. This tower, it's pretty easy to use. We will have this plastic lock core right here. You can actually get that traded out to have a metal lock core. You can find that on our website. But I'll remove it for now. And you notice underneath here, there's not a whole lot going on. Now, the way this is held in place is just via one bolt, so that makes that installation really easy to work with, especially if you do plan on taking this off your roof. And really kind of talking about that fit kit now, all it's really going to consist of is a clamp on either side that's held in place with this nut, and then we're going to have this rubber pad at the bottom. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of how our fit kit is working, since we do have this little gap underneath there. In some cases, that could create some wind noise or some whistling, but the main thing I don't like it for is it's just not a super flush look, and I just wish we made full contact with our rail. Let's see how this is going to sit on top of your roof. So the first measurement I'm going to get is going to be the overall height it adds, going from the highest point being these rails. If we measure the top of our crossbar, that is going to be about 4.5 inches, which is actually pretty low profile compared to some other options out there. So what I'd recommend doing is taking total height of your vehicle, your crossbar, or anything on top of it to make sure you don't hit anything like a garage. Now, let's get the distance underneath your crossbar. Now, if you do plan on having your your sunroof open, that will take up some of that space. And right now, we're going to have a little bit under 3 inches. Still plenty of room for most accessories. If you have any bulky clamps, I actually recommend just putting that sunroof down, because with it down, we're going to have more like almost 4.5 inches, which should be plenty for most accessories. Something else to consider is going to be the overhang. And as you can tell, we don't have a whole lot here. This is going to be pretty limited, so even if you had anything smaller like a ski carrier that doesn't have very large clamps, that's probably not going to fit right here. But that's part of the reason why we do have that T-channel here at the top, so we can get anything that we want closer to the end of your vehicle, anything like skis or a bike carrier. Now, when it comes to weight capacity, you're going to be able to haul quite a bit up here, and what's probably going to be your limiting factor is going to be your roof itself. So what I'd recommend doing is just finding that out in your owner's manual and then going from the lowest rated component. Overall, I think this is going to be a pretty great option for the reasons I said earlier. It's a really easy rack to work with, and it's just going to look nice on your roof. Now, if I was going to compare it to anything else, the Rhino Rack Roof Rack is another great option. And really, I think it's going to grab onto your rails a little bit better as far as when it comes to aesthetics. Now, when it comes to the rest of the rack, I think this is a better looking one when it comes to the towers and the crossbar. But this one's also going to be at a much more premium price range. So it's really going to depend on what type of look you want and what's in the budget. But when it comes to the installation, both of them are going to be really easy to put on your roof. And if you are curious about that, just stay tuned. We'll walk you through the process. To start off this installation, I like to lay everything out. Now you'll also notice I already have my front crossbar installed, but it's going to be the same process for either side. I will say you will have to remove a couple tabs. Just make sure you keep these handy and don't lose them. But our kit is going to consist of a few parts. So at the very front, we are going to have our crossbar. Next to that, we're going to have the hardware for our fit kit. That's going to come in a few parts. And then we're going to have some other smaller bolts that will attach to that. After that, we're also going to have our towers. Now you will have one included tool. It's going to be this Allen key with a built-in torque device. And I recommend grabbing a few things, one being a measuring tape and the other one being a flathead screwdriver. The first step I like to start with is going to be removing these tabs. Now if you have a flathead or a trim tool, you can easily remove these. It doesn't take very long. Now if yours are a little bit more worn from a not as new vehicle, then that might be a little bit more difficult. If you don't have these, just make sure you get a wire brush and kind of clear this out because there could be a lot of grime stuck in there. And with those removed, we can move on to putting our brackets on. This is what the bracket's going to look like, and we're going to want it in this orientation if it's on your driver's side. Notice how this comes in some. This should be hanging over your rails. And what we're going to do is line up the two holes on each end with those openings and grab these included bolts from our kit and thread those in. I'll have to just start hand tightening mine to begin with. Now when you are installing these on the rear side, you will notice there is another set you can use, but that's going to be a little bit more of a narrow crossbar spread. If you do have accessories that do use more of a narrow crossbar spread, then that's going to be a good point to use. If you don't, then I'd recommend using the ones that I'm using. And with those hand tightened, we're going to grab this other included tool. This is going to have that more of a star shape to it. And we're going to tighten it down completely from here, just enough for it to be pretty tight where you can't tighten it anymore. And then we'll repeat that same process on the other side. Now we're going to move over to our towers. So with your tower, we're going to flip that around. You're going to notice we have this exposed bolt, and we're going to start installing our fit kit. Now your fit kit will be labeled with A, B, and C. That's going to be the order in which you install them. So we're going to start with A, and that's just going to make sure you have these tabs that go inward to your tower, and that bolt goes through that center opening. Then we're going to grab B. They're going to have these rubber tabs underneath it. That's going to go underneath the tower. And we want to make sure that the front of A hook is in front of that rubber pad, just like that. And we're actually going to hold off on installing C because I'm going to do that once this is on our roof. Before we get this on our roof, we need to make sure we install our towers to our crossbar. We're going to start by flipping this crossbar over. That's going to reveal this tab on our end cap. We're just going to press in on that and remove this. Trick is to wiggle this as you do this to remove it. And with our tower, you're going to notice we have 3 tabs on top. Those tabs are going to go in that channel, and we want to make sure it's in the orientation of, with all this hardware, facing out away from the center of the crossbar. Those tabs go right into this channel right here, just like that. Then you'll grab your end cap and reinstall it. And then repeat this on the other side. And what we're going to do from here is make sure we get this on our roof correctly. And what I mean by that is put it on in the right orientation. So we are going to have a thicker side, that's going to be the one in front of us, and the thinner side where it tapers off is going to face behind us. And then we're just going to roughly place this on our roof. It doesn't have to be perfect at the beginning. We can adjust it later on. We're just going to line it up here and then move it as need be. Before I tighten anything down, I want to make sure this is even on both ends and we're sitting kind of perfectly on those metal brackets. What we're going to do from here is make sure we don't have too much overhang like I have right here, and that's just going to consist of me just kind of tapping on one side until this looks about even. And from here we're going to grab those C-clamps, the same one we had earlier, but this time we're going to install it. So the way this is going to install is you'll notice we have an opening right here. That opening is going to match up with the end of your A clamp. Best way to do this is put it in at an angle, and then I'm just going to push up against it, and you're going to see that we have that bolt sticking through. Now sometimes that can be a little tricky to get lined up, so what I'll do is kind of push this little nut here at an angle, and it'll kind of grab on, and then I'll start to hand thread it. And you just kind of hand thread that until it gets tight. You want to make sure that this clamp is getting underneath the base of this. If it's on top, it won't clamp down. And then you're eventually going to grab your Allen key, and we'll tighten this down the rest of the way. The best way to do this is to kind of go back and forth so it tightens properly. I've already done that a few times with mine, so I'm about near the end now. And you're going to start to kind of hear this clicking, just like that. That's going to let you know it's all the way tightened into place. And from here, we're just going to put our end cap on. Really, you just push against there. It'll be good to go, and then you can lock this up. Afterwards, I think it's a good idea to just come by and give this a good shake test, make sure it's not moving. It's feeling pretty sturdy, so we should be able to take it out for a ride now. But that's just a look at some of the features and the installation of the Thule Roof Rack on our 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee 4xe. I'm Matt. Thanks for watching.